Hi, this is Dr. Paul Fitzgerald. This is to probably my friends who might be interested in AI, ChatGPT, Claude, a lot of the other LLMs. I call it alternative intelligence rather than artificial intelligence because it's not fake, but it is important to learn how to use it. Some of you may not know about a great resource and tool called NotebookLM. It's a Google product, and Google is really working hard to catch up. I thought I'd take a few moments and share with you about how I use the Notebook LM. You can get a free version of it. It's quite fascinating. I started one last night, and I thought maybe I'll just wait and finish it today and begin to show how it might be used. With that in mind, here is my desktop version of Notebook LM. And you can see from the entries here, I have a lot of notebooks I've already used and made use of it. So I've got a little experience using it. Let me show you how you create. You just create one here, you create new, and it gives you a place to add all kinds of resources. You can add text. You can bring things in from Google Drive if you have it there. You can bring a website in or a link or a YouTube. You can paste text, copy text, lots of ways to get information in. So let me go back here and introduce you to my Marcus research process with Marcus Sheridan. Marcus Sheridan is a popular marketing person, has a really interesting approach to marketing these days. So last night, I began to gather information about his work. I began primarily looking at YouTube's, and I found lots of resources. Notice this is divided into three parts. Here's my sources. I can add more sources here. Here's the chat part of it, a little summary here. And over here is the studio part. We'll get back to how to use that in a moment. I'm going to use the brand new feature called Discover. So I'm going to click on Discover. Marcus Sheridan is writing a new book, and it includes new technologies and strategies in addition to the ones he had in his previous two books. They Ask, You Answer, and The Visual Sale, period. I want you to find additional resources about his approach to endless customers, period. Ask any questions. So as much as the resources I did last night, this found 10 more resources, particularly about the subject I want. So I'll import them. Okay, now, oops, here's two that can't be added. They are more private. They're locked out. I'm locked out of adding those. And I'll just take those out and delete those. Okay, now with those deleted, I have a couple of options. One of the things that is really new to NotebookLM is they've just added a mind map process. So I'm going to use the mind map process here. So it's going to create a new mind map over here, and it's about the endless customers. That's what I've been asking about. And it breaks it down to core principles. When I click on the building trust, it takes me to the part of the resources related to that and gives me then links to the various articles that the resources. So I can do deeper research. Fascinating stuff. I'm going to save that to a note as a note rather than just a mind map. All right, I want to find out what's different. So I want you to identify the differences in the strategies and approach that Marcus has between this new book and the earlier books, They Ask, You Answer, and The Visual Sale, period. Ask any questions. So it's going to go through and it's going to do a comparison for me, which is really cool because I really want the new information. I have the two books. So there's the whole summary of the differences. So I'm going to save that to a note. And I'm actually going to then click on that. I'm going to convert that to a source. So now if you don't save it, you can't convert it to a source. But now it's a new source. So it's right here. I could also copy it and put it in a Word doc or some other place I want to keep it, but it's nice to have it here. I'm going I'm going to go here and I'm going to unselect all the sources and just select this one. And now I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to a mind map. Now this is a new mind map and it's only based on the one source. So here's all the significant differences, key differences in the strategy and approach. Isn't that fantastic? And you can break it down. System approach different. 4 pillars, self-service education. Really breaks it down. Significant target audience. Buyer behavior understanding. So quite fascinating. And you can download that if you want to. I want to mention the learning aspect, the teaching aspect of this resource. So, for example, you want to learn about a book or you want to learn about a topic. If you have access to that book as a PDF, or if you have access to a report as a PDF, or if you have access to a YouTube, some source, you can put it in here and you can use the audio studio to create a podcast that summarizes all that information that you can then listen to rather than having to dig through all the material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave only this one source here, which is what my focus is on. And I'm going to go over here to the audio overview. And I'm going to, by the way, before I do that, you can create a study guide. You can create a list of facts. You can create a briefing document. Let's do that. Let's do the facts. Yeah, that'd be a great source of good information. Frequently asked questions. Here's all the frequently asked questions. How does it differ? What's the central concept? 4 pillars. And I convert that to a source too. Okay, now let's go back to the studio. So I'm going to click here to load the conversation, and I'm going to pause while it's doing this. What I'm doing is creating a podcast. It's already here. Fantastic. So here's a podcast based on the information that we're working with.
All right, so, we love digging into these big ideas that are changing how businesses work, and you brought us some fascinating stuff this time around.
Yeah, I think it is, well, it's definitely one of those things everyone's talking about right now.
It feels like you can't escape it.
You really can't. And
Yeah.
it's only going to get, more intense, I think.
Yeah, so we're talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and how it's impacting, just about everything,
Every single thing.
especially for businesses, right? And trying to figure out how to, thrive in this environment.
Absolutely. Yeah, how to not just survive, but really turn this into an advantage.
Totally. So we're going to really unpack some of those ideas today.
Okay, sounds good.
We're focusing specifically on Marcus Sheridan's new book, Endless Customers, which is super interesting, and how it sort of builds on the ideas he presented in his previous books, They Ask, You Answer, and The Visual Sale.
Yeah, those were both so influential when they came out. I mean, so many businesses, really changed how they approach things because of them.
For sure. For sure, they were game changers. And we're going to kind of see how those core principles maybe have shifted or evolved or, what's new, what's different in this.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, see what's coming up, just to give you a feel for it.
Evolve a bit with AI being such a dominant force now.
Yeah, that's a great point. They ask, your answer really focused on creating SEO-driven content, right? Answering those crucial buyer questions in a way that would rank well in search results.
Yeah.
But Endless Customers takes a broader perspective. It recognizes that just focusing on SEO might not be enough anymore.
Because AI is changing how people search for information, right?
Right. They might be.
I'm going to pause there, stop there. I also want to suggest this is a great way to learn new material. For example, if you have a book that you happen to have a PDF copy of, or a report of some kind that's complicated, sophisticated, Or if you have YouTube, you can upload it here to a notebook, create the audio podcast version, and then you can download that to your smartphone and use that while you walk, or while you drive, while you're doing other things. So you don't have to necessarily read every detail to get the gist of what is being said. It's quite a fascinating tool for learning new information in a quick way. I hope this has been helpful to you. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help you answer questions. We'll dig it out together. Just trying to give you all information about the new resources in using what I call alternative intelligence. Have a great day.